Alright, so do a little video here. I'm gonna show y'all how I set up a hunting arrow, one of my hunting arrows. So first thing, this here, get me a trash can. This here, it's a Carbon Express Mayhem Hunter. This one's already fletched from the factory. It's now I've already cut it. It's 27 inches from the end of the carbon to the third of the nock. And this one here, it's already fletched from the factory with blazers. Sometimes I buy them fletched, sometimes I buy them unfletched. Just sometimes, if the local bow shop's got them, they're usually fletched, and he'll usually sell them to me cheaper than I can even, order shafts. So I'm gonna be putting blazers back on this, but these are straight. I'm gonna throw a helical on mine. I think it flies a little better with broadheads. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock these things off. And I just use a boning stripper. Works as good as anything. I'm a big boning fan. I use a lot of boning wraps, use blazer vanes. They all work good for me. So I'm gonna get some alcohol. I'm gonna take, I like to put some 91% rubbing alcohol. And get it clean, get everything off. Mine, Carbon Express puts the knot collars on these. I just go ahead and take mine off because it makes it easier to wrap and refletch. I've left them on before. That's really just a preference thing. They weigh about 4 grains, but one thing you need to know is if you're gonna shoot them without it and you want them a certain length, go ahead and take them off. Yeah, I probably got one laying around here somewhere. Like here's one from another arrow. Y'all gotta know all they do is they go on like that, and if you want to take it off, you just slide it off, slide the knot back in. But what I'm saying is if you gonna not use them, go ahead and take them off, because you wouldn't think, but it actually makes, maybe an 1/8 of an inch or so difference. Somewhere in there, how long your arrow will actually be when you cut them. If you cut them the same way, from, your nock, with them and without them, they're going to be a little different. So I'll go ahead and take that out, because those things are nice to have, but I tell you, man, if I bust a knot, Robin Hood them, I've got tons of them, that I've Robin Hooded with those. So that's your call on that. Really, that's all that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a wrap on mine. I like a wrap. Makes your arrows easier to see in flight on the target. Makes them look a little better, I think. So, you know how we do. Lay them things on the mouse pad. Or if you never put wraps on before, this is, I'd say, the most common way. Probably the only way really people do it. But I'm trying to get all this in this video for you. Ain't got a lot of room to do it over here. But let's see. Can't tell where that thing's focusing. There's a little down there. Hopefully you can see this. But I just, put it to the end right there. Keep pressure on it the whole time. Pushing down, rolling. And I'll go ahead and roll mine through a few times just to make sure it's on there good. But mine's wrapped up now and it's ready to fletch. Now, what I like to do with my hunting arrows, some people say it don't matter, it's just a waste of time. Whatever, I like mine to always be the same. So I line my blades up, right? Now I'm shooting a 4-blade with a 3 fletch, so they're not going to line up exactly like a 3-blade. But they're not going to vary from arrow to arrow, you see what I'm saying? They're still going to line up the same how I want them. Now there's 2 ways really to do this that I've seen people do. If they do try to index a 4-blade, a slick trick like this, some people will run your odd vane, cock vane, whatever you want to call it. They'll run it in between 2 blades. But me, I like mine to line up with a blade, basically like a 3-blade would, but they'll all be the same on every arrow, and that's just something that, if I'm fletching my arrows anyway, don't take long, and something I like to do. Now, when I get to fletching these things here, see if you can see. Now this right here is one of the biggest things. Like I said, I just went ahead and glued my insert in. Some people actually put their broadhead in their insert and then glue it in to spine align it, right? One thing I love about Carbon Express arrows, and Easton I think are very good for it, is if you test spine on these arrows, the spine all the way around, the arrow's round, it don't have sides. But say it's got sides, say this is your top, this is your bottom, you got 2 sides, right? Top, bottom, 2 sides. You take this thing, put it on a spine tester to put weight on it, and they're very spine consistent. Almost any way you turn them, the spine's going to read the same. Like this particular arrow is a 347, so spine, it's a little stouter than that, the length I got them cut, but you get the point. If I had these at 29 inches, I think is what they test them at. Any way I turn this thing, it's going to be, some of them will be 347 all the way around, some of them will be like 346, 348. That's very tight. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get. Which is a thing, me personally, I really like about Carbon Express. I think they're the tightest tolerances, and like I said, I think Easton does a good job. Like I got some of these Gold Tip Hunter XTs. They're good hunting arrows, but they're not quite as consistent spine from what I've seen. So, because spine consistency is the most important thing in shooting. The same, especially with a fixed blade, consistency in your shooting, it's more important than the 001 straightness. That's probably least important, especially when you're cutting length off the arrow, because all the imperfections and straightness is on the ends of the arrows anyway. But that's your most important thing. Your overall weight's probably your second to how high or low you're gonna hit. Then your straightness is probably your third, to be honest. I like to be around the 3 straightness or better. These are actually 0035. I shot the, I got some Maxima Hunters here. They're 0025. But the same spine consistency. But, I'm not any more accurate with these than these. But I like these. But I just like these better because they're heavier arrows. When I come that short, it gives me more of the finished weight I like. So anyway, so what I'm saying by that is when I turn this, I can turn this any way in this nock, and it's not going to make much of a difference. So what I like to do is I like to just go by the label right here where it says Mayhem Hunter. And the closest I can get that, the line straight up. And with a blade, 4 blade, it's a little easier too to get a blade to line up. And then I'm good to go right there. I'm going to start a fletch. So, see, I use the Blazers 3-degree helix. I think it's the best overall way to do it. No helix doesn't shoot broadheads quite as good, I don't think. Too much helix, like extreme helix, 5 degrees or more, is going to shoot them good. But if you get too much, you'll actually start losing speed because, it's you think about it, you got that helix on there, and that's just resistance against the wind making them spin. But it's also going to slow them down if it's too much. So, Bowman makes these jigs. It's the 3-degree. You put that on there, and basically you set it. So, yep, that's how I do it. Like I said, spine consistency is very important in shooting. Now, a lot of arrows, your gold tips, and then they make VAPs, which those are actually spine aligned. So your label tells you what the high side of the spine is. So you're supposed to align your fletching with the label. Victory arrows, which it's not the woven process like Carbon Express has, or an Axis is infused. It's a different process they make the carbon. So even though all these are carbon arrows, not all carbons are created equal, right? Basically that's what I'm getting at. I think some are a little better than others. They're all gonna make good hunting arrows, especially if you just set them up good, I think, nowadays. But, I like what I think's gonna be the best is what I'm gonna shoot, and what I have the most faith, believe in the most. And it's not all based on believing in it. I can prove it. You can spine test a lot of these arrows until they're not the same. So, anyway, shoot whatever you like. I'm not really a brand guy. The only reason I'm biased about some brands is because they're tested and proven through me that they're good, they work, good quality, and not cause anybody else shoots them or nothing, just cause I know, I've been doing this a while. So if you really want to get picky about your setup, have your best success hunting in the woods, just shooting whatever, test out products, and you'll see the difference. There's like I said, there's a lot of things out nowadays that'll work great, but if you want your best setup, I think some things are still a little better than others nowadays, even though the gap's closing every year with bows and equipment. there's still stuff that's better than others, you know. But choose what you like the best, what shoots good with out of your bow, your setup. Everybody could be completely different, you know. So anyway, it should be good here. Getting ready to turn it and throw me another one on. But anyway, I ain't gonna stand here and watch you get you to watch me fletch a whole arrow. Somehow I got that thing turned around. But like I said, you see what I'm doing here. I just my peace of mind. I like all my arrows to line up the same. Everything being the same. In no way, in my mind, there's no way that can hurt. You know. It just can help. It may, you know, it could all be mental. It may not make no difference. It just fits my eye better. So that's what I do. That's how I do it. And that's how I set up a hunting arrow.